Hi, my name is Mark Olives, and today I'd like to talk to you about a frequent problem with dieting, and that's dieting plateaus. A dieting plateau being you're losing weight, and then all of a sudden things flatten out. You haven't changed a thing, you're still doing all the right things, you're exercising the same, your portions are the same, the food content's the same. All of a sudden though, the brakes are on and you're not losing any weight. What happened? It's very important to understand weight loss from a physiologic standpoint, not necessarily a cognitive standpoint. So you have to remember that weight loss is controlled by a very primitive part of your brain called the brain stem. That brain stem is the same part of your brain that controls heart rate, respiratory rate, body temperature, all things of which we have no volitional control. So you have no volitional control over your metabolism. So you have to remember that this primitive part of your brain has been what's keeping humans alive or kept humans alive forever, for a long period of time. And it works very primitively, and it's not used to today's society where there's an abundance of food. All it knows is, I've got to keep the organism alive, so therefore it's my job to adjust the metabolism to meet the food that's coming in, or to balance intake of energy from expenditure of energy. So if I'm out burning this much energy and I've only got this much food coming in, that primitive part of your brain sees imminent disaster. It says we're going to die. And my job as the metabolic metabolic control center is to adjust and balance. So your brain is looking for steady state. So what's going to happen is your metabolism is going to slow down to reach the intake of food. So if you had, say, a 2,000 calorie metabolism and you're eating 1,200 calories, well then what's going to happen is your primitive part of your brain is going to slow that metabolism down as far as it possibly can and get it as close to 1,200 as possible. When that happens, you're not losing any weight. You're doing all this hard work, but nothing's happening. So it's a very frequent problem with dieting because that's what the brain is supposed to do. This helps to keep you alive. It doesn't recognize that you're doing this voluntarily and that there's plenty of food and you're just purposely foregoing it. It sees this gap and wants to get it down to this. So there's a simple trick called free day. A lot of people have heard of free day, and it's once a week you do whatever you want in whatever quantity you want. Now that doesn't mean you have to eat junky food, but you can eat junky food. And I've got another video that talks about free day, so I'm not going to go way into this. But the basic fundamental concept is you want to have one day a week that you greatly increase your influx of food. So what that's going to do is, as your metabolism is wanting to dip, you have a big influx of food. You get the big kill. Your body says, fantastic. I'm not dying. I'm not starving to death after all. I just got a big bunch of food in. So then it's going to help maybe buffer it a little bit, keep that gap going. So I do tons of weight loss patients, and I frequently find the patients that don't do well are the ones that are the most strict. They're doing technically the best, but they're the ones that have problems because after about 4 or 5 weeks, that happens, the primitive brain slows the metabolism down, weight loss stops. It then takes me weeks to try and convince people you've got to do a free day. And they'll say, well, you know what, I had a donut or I had, a little snack. I say, well, all that really did was it took your 1,200 calorie diet and moved it up to 1,400, maybe 1,500. You're still running a deficit. The primitive brain still sees this as a problem. You've got to get at least 2,000 and preferably even more calories coming in because that's what's going to tell your brain everything's okay, keep the metabolic gap wide, keep the weight loss coming, because we're not actually dying. So that's why you will have a dietary plateau. So it's very important to incorporate that free day, that once a week that you have an increased caloric intake. This will help keep your metabolism fast and help you to lose more weight in the long run. I hope this helps you with your dieting plateaus. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.